Be able to see me in there, right? Red, orange, and yellow guy. And actually, my car should look warm. I'm kind of curious. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I got that heat blasted.
That's perfect.
So we're looking for, like, obviously I'm red, orange, and yellow, which means I'm the warmest thing inside the video right now. So we're looking for blue and black, which are the cold spots.
Blue and black.
So
right.
we're looking for them to either take shape or to start moving on their own. Now, you also mentioned temperature differences. It's a good thing because I set up a blue dot that's going to bounce around the screen. So that's going to show you the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. So when I do see something a little weird, I always stop it, and it will give, I'll pause it, get a quick still shot if it's at a temperature difference of 15 plus degrees from the ambient temperature in the center of the screen. I also keep track of temperature. I keep copious notes through your entire night. You're going to see me whip out a little notebook all night long. But that's basically what we're looking for. Blue and black. Does this capture something every single night? Not necessarily, but when we do, it's a holy cow moment. Right. I'm not gonna lie. It's a holy shit kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, I have another type of camera that I use too when I have my larger groups. But this one seems to be the most fun. Just because it is so different than what most people would think of with, hey, I'm going to go on a ghost hunt. Oh, I get to use this. It's just something weird to watch. So there's a lot that goes into the science of this, but what you're going to try to do is try to keep the sky out of view if you can. The reason why is a blue dot will default to the sky because there's no surface. If you remember this...
Keep it low instead of...
Right.
I gotcha.
And also try to keep one of us in view at all times because we're the warmest thing in here. That kind of gives us that array of color. Otherwise, that's a bad example to put it in my car, but normally if I wasn't in there or there wasn't something warm in there, the whole thing would bleed out to mainly one color. Very hard to find a cold spot if everything is relatively close in temperature. So with us, we're 97 to 99 degrees. You kind of get the point. Yes, this is a science experiment for you guys, so I'm going to be talking a lot of little geeky terms. Camera, I'm just going to kind of face it the other way.
Okay.
Certain other places that we might be, there might be parked vehicles, so people don't like their cars filmed either. They get really weirded out by it.
Right.
Have you heard anything along the way?
Just bouncing.
Okay. And you'll get better
Traffic.
at it. Okay. You guys celebrating anything?
Not really, no. Okay. We're, like I said, we're in town visiting friends, and...
I asked because the last term that showed up was anniversary.
Oh, no, that's August.
Okay.
No.
It's the only reason why I asked. I gotta know.
Yeah.
Not that I was prying.
No.
No,
he's like, you looked unsure at first. I'm like, oh shit, did I just
Well,
get
there's always something,
No.
All right, so welcome to Philadelphia Alley. This is normally a ghost stop staple. Every ghost tour stops down here.
Okay.
Of course, I told the story a little bit differently just because you're ghost hunting. You need a little bit different details. And I'm going to slow down on specific keywords that are commonly heard or seen based on the actual history of the location. So here's how this story actually goes. This used to be called Dueller's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to take place for the city of Charleston. So have you guys taken any history tours at all in Charleston? Any kind of tours at all?
The horse.
Yeah, the carriage tour, yeah.
Okay.
It was
just so
mostly architectural, really.
It was architectural. We were,
Yeah, because I do talk about the Powder magazine at the next stop. So that way I won't repeat any of that craziness. Because they normally stop there.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Did they talk about earthquake bolts?
Earthquake bolts, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the buildings.
Yes.
Right.
So we'll touch on it, and it's only because it's relevant to why we're there.
Okay.
So back to the duels. Here's the story. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. His full name has popped up for us here in the past, just so you know. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. Dr. Ladd moves to Charleston to prove that he's not after Amanda's money. He's going to start his new medical practice down here and see how it goes. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed, so it wasn't a good start to his stay here.
Wow.
But somebody was walking by. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I stop on Ralph because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. I do have an electronic Ouija board in my bag. It's a new device that they just came up with this past year, and even before we had the lettered Ouija board, RI was still showing up on our spirit boxes, but we're talking about two different characters from the history, so we need the secondary clue, so that way we know who it belongs to.
Okay.
Okay, so back to Ralph. He tells Dr. Ladd, you do not want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from them, and you'll be good to go and safe. Dr. Ladd takes him up on the offer, and the two become friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's money. Amanda gets wind of this, and she's moving down so that way they can get married. Dr. Ladd becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. It's 1780s. He's a whistling guy. I will also point out that every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. I can put my paycheck on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of them. There's actually proof of this one. I'm getting to it. Him and Ralph go see plays together, but they cannot sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. So they go see Richard III from Shakespeare one night, and they are arguing about an actress on the way home. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph, not so much. Gets even more heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. So they go their separate ways. Ralph, having friends here, goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Dr. Ladd sees the ad because it's kind of a disgrace to society kind of mentality. He sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they come down, they took their 10 paces away from each other, they turned, and anybody coming through?
Mm-mm.
No.
You happen to look down that way, and I just don't like to film other tours because they
Right.
get jealous more so than anything. I don't have a whole lot of friends in this industry. But anyway, the doctor pointed his gun in the air and he shot. He didn't want to kill his friend.
Oh, but the other guy.
Oh, wait a minute, we're not there yet. So, just wanted the courage and bravery, right? You got the gist of the duel. But Ralph has his one shot and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So Dr. Ladd didn't die. His friends obviously fell to the ground, but his friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street. He died 10 days later or 4 days later, depending on which version of the story you're reading. So, it's after refusing medical treatment, by the way, and you have to remember that he's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed the bullet out himself. So, all the other ghost tours that come down here will tell you, as you walk through here, you can hear the whistling from the doctor. Here's the uncanny thing. We're using spirit boxes, and I have a whole backpack filled with different types. We get the word whistle, we get whistling from different songs, and it's just the whistling part. So kind of think of Guns N' Roses' Patience or Maroon 5's Moves Like Jagger. There's whistling in both of those songs. I only bring it up because it's happened before. And the word whistle will show up all the time.
Okay.
Last night we actually had the word listen and whistle at the same time. So somebody said, I just heard listen, and then somebody said, I just heard the word whistle. And I was kind of like, okay, we got something going on here. Now, the other piece is that they say you can hear the gunshots from the duels. I'm going to call BS on that one because I don't have any record at all of any kind of gunshots on any of my tours and the amount of years I've been coming down to this alley. Nothing. What I will tell you is that we're also using my voice recorder. So that way when you guys are listening to your audio, listen for whistles in the background. You hear how quiet it is right now? It's always like this. On a busy Saturday afternoon, this is how quiet it is until one of the air conditioners pops on.
Okay.
It's always this quiet. Here's the thing. I actually got booted out of that side, which is why I keep kind of looking over my shoulder. Let me tell you why, because that's the fun part of the whole story. I used to take my tours all the way through here.
Yeah.
It is considered residential at the end. So I was out of bounds. I was still new at this. So I was kind of like, all right, but here's why I actually got kicked out. I would take people through, and we weren't using earbuds yet, so it was like, turn your spirit boxes down. This is a point for your voice recorders listening later on. The bricks that we're standing on are younger than the bricks that are down there. The reason why is because this alley didn't come all the way through on this side. So those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there and fingerprint swipes. And I always point them out because it's part of our history. Like, we have to talk about it. So my entire group wants to always huddle around that handprint, which also brings me to my next point. I don't take you to actual cemeteries. You don't get a whole lot of activity in cemeteries. So I treat that brick the same way I do any kind of grave. I'm not going to get a whole lot of activity out of it. So November 26th of 2020, my entire group is huddled around this one brick waiting for something to happen. I'm trying to shoo them along because it's outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. The gentleman saw us for the last time and he come out screaming. My youngest daughter thought it was great because she was on the tour that night because Dad's getting yelled at. We moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I didn't have a tour that day because I worked in retail management for over 20 years. Never working another Thanksgiving ever in my life. The next day after that was November 28th. I get a phone call asking me to go down halfway, which is what we're allowed to do, or to reroute my group. I told my team that night, just to stay out of harm's way, we're just going to reroute. I told the story outside the alley, let the other tours down here, just because it wasn't fair for my group of 10 to be around 20 to 60. We're allowed to go to 20. So, but I told them that I didn't believe in the story that I was about to go through. I'm a vampire person, not a pirate guy. We're going to talk about what I know about piracy here in Charleston and see what happens. Before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. What I I did not tell them is who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I went, oh snap, I guess we might actually have something going on there. And I had been to the Powder Magazine dozens of times. Never anything occurred there. When we get there and I told what little bit I did know about piracy, somebody else heard the number 300 on another spirit box, and they didn't know what that meant until the next day, and I'm doing the research. We were there on November 28th of 2020, and Bonnie's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300 year anniversary. So I was like, oh damn it, now I gotta learn about pirates.
Yeah.
So everything we're about to go through at the next stop is dealing with piracy. So what I will tell you is, based on my master's degree we already talked about, it is very difficult to piece together a factual investigation based on pirate lore, because there are so many different versions of all of these different pirate stories. So everything we're about to discuss at the next stop will be based off of a minimum of 2 resources for me to be able to verify any kind of information. So we will be able to spread out a little bit more, but this is, I think, was kind of a good starting point for the new route, because this was part of my old route.
Okay.
So I will also tell you before we left, did you guys notice this gate over here?
Nope.
This gate was in the event there was a loser to a duel. Remember, the alley didn't go all the way through. If there was a loser, this was a shortcut to get to the cemetery.
Oh,
Otherwise,
nice.
they'd have to go all the way down to Queen and down and around
I'll
to
be
go drop the
doggone.
body off.
Okay.
Yeah. So as we exit, go ahead and kill your film, and then we will, like, as we get out to the street, I want to see if anything's going to actually pop up with these weird temperatures we're having.
Okay.
And then we'll start it back up again when we get to the next stop. But
So kill it once I get to the street?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, people get weirded out by us filming, and my other camera looks a lot crazier than that. Like, it's got attachments and
Okay.
weird lights on it. Have you heard anything?
I mean, again, just a whole bunch of a lot.
A whole bunch of a lot
But, I mean, yeah, but it's nothing
that you know of.
that I can pick up.
What I'm also going to tell you is, throughout the night, I may be withholding information at any of these locations, so that way you're not listening for something specific. Go ahead and kill it.
Trying.
At Philadelphia Alley. Okay. I haven't checked my word list, but we're going to be discussing this little tiny building before we actually spread out and kind of let you guys venture off with your devices. And I'm going to stick with you. Like, we're going to be able to roam and not just stay in one spot. But let's go through the history first. This is the Gunpowder Magazine. I'm really surprised that you guys didn't learn about this.
We did. We passed this.
Okay.
We didn't learn. I mean, all he said was the what you just said.
Oh, this
what
is the
it was.
Gunpowder Magazine?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
yes,
talked
yeah,
about those are the largest,
They're the oldest earthquake bolts that we have.
earthquake bolts, yeah.
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why we're here, is because this is the reason why these are the oldest. It's not because, you know, they were put in at the same time that the building was being constructed. We're here because they put those in because this is the oldest government building we have in South Carolina.
Okay.
Which is from the same time period of when Anne Bonny actually came to the area to start her new life. This is what I call a familiar ghost. So, in essence, it's like using a toy to attract a child ghost. It's the same type of principle. You just want something familiar to be able to associate with the same thing. Now, the funny thing is they used to do just investigations of this location as a tour, not with the high tech that we have these days, but I want to say that was a few decades ago. I can't find any record of it, but a lot of locals have told me, like, people used to investigate just for Anne Bonny at the Powder Magazine for hours.
For hours.
So it's just interesting.
Okay.
So here's how Anne's story goes, and again, certain keywords might start to stand out for you. And just kind of backstepping for the Philadelphia Alley, keywords that normally show up there are kneecap, shots, 59, because that was his address. We do get doctor, anything relative to medicine in that relation. Brown-Eyed Girl likes to play there a lot too, because his name was Dr. Joseph Brown Lad, so we do get Brown-Eyed Girl, the lyric, there all the time. The word whistle. Obviously, you're getting the gist of how those keywords might start to pop up.
I just had a minute ago. I want to soak up the sun. The Sheryl Crow.
Okay.
I want to soak up the sun.
And California.
And California.
And California was before it.
Interesting.
And the violin before that. Those are,
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah. The violin thing, I don't know what the reference might actually be, especially if it came through as strong and as clear as
It
you
was,
say it was.
yeah, for a
So-
second.
I still don't know. If it was a fiddle, I can understand the early
Oh.
1700s. But Follow me, there's a lot of twists in this piece of history.
Okay.
1708, young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name's Anne Cormac. She moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress turns out to be Anne's mother. Are you with me so far? You kind of had that look.
No, say that. So Anne.
Anne, her father, and
Right.
his mistress. The
Okay.
mistress is Anne's mom.
Got it.
The three of them are running away from her father's angry wife.
Got it.
Okay. That's why I slowed down on that
Okay.
part.
Yes. No, I got it.
They land in Georgetown, that's just north of here between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to be able to sell anything from the plantation to help keep things afloat. Now, Anne back home in Ireland was kind of a badass. They say she killed one of her servants when she was only 7, 8, 9 years old. Remember, we're dealing with pirate lore. With a knife to the belly. So knife and belly are common things that we get around this location, too. Just one of those, we like to put the mentality of Anne before we really get into it. So, fast forward, this building was done in 1713. Yeah, again, oldest government building we have in South Carolina. Pirates were coming through town in 1715. Anne is stoked. Why? Because she's going to fall in love to earn her freedom, just like a man, because it's a man's world at this point. First guy she falls in love with. Yes, I said first, because there's a handful, and we're going to go through them. The first guy is James Bonney. You already see where that one's going, right? So dad didn't approve, filthy pirate, they go to Jamaica, get married, Anne Cormac, and Bonney. You get the gist. Now, this guy is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer, which means he is a spy for the British. So, she falls in love again a few years later. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is the person that they based your Captain Jack Sparrow character off of. So, is he the Captain Jack Sparrow she wants? Absolutely. The one.
Okay.
He has his own ship and wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Either one of you know why? Keep it clean.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
They're bad luck.
okay. They're bad
Oh,
luck.
girl.
like a
Yeah,
banana
most people
peel.
go a little bit more, yeah,
Okay.
go a little bit more in depth.
Well, yeah, I would.
Most people you would think would. But he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy to look like my crew, you could be part of the crew, but you're definitely going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because back home in Ireland, Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice to keep her away from his wife, so that way he could spend time with her. So she's like, she gets it. It's a man's world.
Yeah.
Put two and two together. She's going to be a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude
man,
on the
yeah.
crew.
No.
Right.
So he,
Duh.
before she starts the show, sends her off to Cuba. These are friends of mine. They'll help you with the delivery of the baby. Come back later and we'll figure it out. Well, she goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child.
Okay.
The weird thing about this part of the story is that she comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry because now everybody's going to know that he let a girl on the crew
Right.
because they're going to recognize her. And she doesn't care. She's going to make him even more mad. How she's going to do that was Jack actually captured another pirate crew and they're down below deck. She's going to go flirting because that's what Anne does. We're on guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. So now we have 2 females dressed like males on the same ship. Her and this young lady, whose name was Mary Reed, she went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. They became lovers, possibly, well, friends, possibly lovers, because we don't really know for sure. So the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary, rumor had it, they were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks, probably because they didn't know how to use the cannons yet. Again, they weren't pirates for very long. Obviously, 2 ladies with flintlocks are not going to take on a fleet of ships. They get arrested. And as they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up here a lot, just so you know. The judge, his name is Nick as well, so if you hear my name, it's usually relevant to him. He wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. After he's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. They're already dead and gone. The 2 ladies go in front and reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. They're still pirates, so he's still going to hang them. They both scream out, "We plead our bellies," which means they're pregnant. That's what they're claiming to be. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging. Dad is still in here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails her out and brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we don't know about Mary for sure. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes. Yeah, very abrupt ending, because we don't really know much about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed dies a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination on that one. Most books will say that it was fever. I'm going to call BS and say it was probably a lot worse than that. So 2 things that I left out of that story on purpose, just so you'd have something to kind of go off of, to ask questions with, or just to focus on. the names of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and his mistress. I left those out purposely. I do know them, but I'm not going to tell you what they are, so that way you're not getting precognitive messages.
Okay.
The other thing I left out was the name of Calico Jack's ship. So I did leave that out on purpose as well. So when I have my teams of 10, I say, go spread out, have some fun, get some footage. Let's see what we actually have going on here. So we're going to do probably 1 or 2 laps around this location. I'm going to see if there's any EMFs that are going on as we're kind of going through here.
Okay.
In the parking
The
lot?
whole parking lot?
Because we're going to be relatively close. We're here because of the familiarity of the building.
Right. Okay.
Remember, I normally have groups of 10. I have to be able to spread them out
Oh,
somewhere.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
and, well, I'm right next to the electrical pole, so I'm not going to count that. So I said 2.1. I was like, oh, I already have something already. But
Do you know what they keep in that thing now?
It's a museum. So
Oh, it is. So
yeah.
you can go and like.
It actually served in 7 different wars and a rebellion. So they have all of the artillery in there that was used, a lot of the uniforms during those different wars. Like it's a really cool $5 to spend.
I got you. Okay.
I actually had a season pass to this location. The first year I was doing this, and that's how I kind of came up with like I'd never get anything with this whole pirate
I just
story.
heard John Wolfe.
I'll take John. Remember, Calico Jack's real name was John.
John Wolfe.
Which I think brings me to my next point of, if you ask what color is a big red barn, and you hear Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, we don't need Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. We just need red. Your
Red.
spirit box is slowed down on purpose.
Gotcha.
So definitely take that. You better write down.
People walking down the street over there. Is this recording my voice as well, Nick?
Yeah, it does record.
Okay. Yeah. So behind them were some walkers on the street there.
Yeah. I used to want to point out where the skeptic was in the group because I always had one, and I'd always give him that camera and not tell him that it would record audio. And then I realized how many mean things they were saying about me. I'm like, I gotta stop doing that.
Yeah. No, I just, as you're reviewing the evidence, I thought, well, because they were kind of going through the bushes, and it
To
could
be
have
honest
looked.
with you, I turn the audio off so that way I'm focused on the visual.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
I do put underneath your notes like this should be used as an EVP audio, so that way you guys are using a double purpose.
Yeah.
But I'm focused on the visuals
I got
on the
you.
cameras.
Yep.
I did get the word marriage while we've been here. That's pretty vague. So,
Marriage?
Yeah.
Just marriage?
Just the word marriage.
Well, you did talk about her getting married.
I did, but it's very vague.
Yeah,
like
that's
I look
vague.
for those really specific
Right.
details. I mean, there's other terms there, but none of them actually match up to anything that I know of this particular location. And granted, there's like 15 stories around here. If I were to see something like relative to John Calhoun, because he's buried on the other side, I would tell you about that. If I'd seen anything relative to the building over there on the corner, I would tell you about that. But I'm not seeing anything relevant so far. Have you heard anything else besides Soak Up the Sun and violins?
No.
John Wolfe?
And John Wolfe in California.
Yep, I got all those written down. Yeah, and on a Saturday night, this place is littered with tours. Like,
Oh, right.
And that's why I like to, let's just spread out. Let's have
Yeah.
some fun. Stay out of their way. Don't record them.
Right. Like,
Just
yep.
get to work, guys.
Gotcha.
I have a 1.6 over here. I mean, it's pretty small. But... Patron.
What's John's pirate ship name?
I'm getting like small readings, but nothing where I'm like excited.
Okay. You were closer to the power line when you were over here. I don't know.
Yeah, I got a 2.1 over there. Remember, I looked for 2.5 and higher.
Okay.
I mean, right now I'm like just under 2, like between like 1.5 and 2.9.
Give me something here.
Give you another minute with that, and then I'll reveal the answers and let you know what's going to happen on our next couple of spaces.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Hi, Ann.
Again, there's not a whole lot going on. I don't like to force it. You know what I mean? Because if I
Right.
keep a group of 10 here investigating and there's nothing popping up, it's a waste of time.
Okay.
And I tell them that like flat out. Like, hey, we're not going to waste any more time here. I mean, we have 2 relevant clues that I'm like, I don't know what they are. They could be something together because she heard start the fire, and I have the word 8th on mine, so I don't know if that's something that a fire that happened on the 8th kind of
Right.
thing. I don't know that we've had dozens of fires.
Big fires in this town. Yeah.
So I got to really dive in and see what we can get out of that.
I think I heard Fetterman.
As in, like the politician.
Fetterman, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. $25 off.
25 is a number. Take it. Fetterman, I'm probably
Laughing.
not gonna. Oh, like actual laughing or
Yeah,
the word laughing?
like a woman laughing.
That's a good thing. And then you said $25.
25 off. $25 off, it said. And then Fetterman.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do Fetterman just because he's all over the news right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's shit I have to keep up with, so I know what the hell's coming through the radio stations.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there was no Fetterman
No.
pirate.
Was it Oprah's voice?
No, it was a
Okay.
man's voice.
Probably just a news broadcast talking about the election in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Isn't that where that one was? Fetterman was in PA?
Yeah.
All right, let's come on over and we'll reveal some answers. Again, I'm excited about, like, when I get to research something new, that's when I'm like, oh yeah!
Heck yeah.
You
Right.
know, like 8th and fire, like those are good things to me. So, and it looks like you stopped your video.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
It's your night. You start and stop as you wish.
Okay.
Usually when we're like the next space we're going to is like a good 2.5 blocks away, so there's really no point in you recording along the way.
Sounds good.
So whenever I break out the tablet, it's just to kind of give you some visuals of what was going on in that space. so you know what the heck was actually going on. Let's see.
I'm just turning this all the way down so I can hear you better.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah. It's recording even Steven.
Okay, that's what you said. Okay.
So, all right. So, I think I know what eighth actually means. That's interesting. So, every ghost tour stops at St. Philip's. So, and I'm only referencing the eighth thing that popped up on my spirit box. They all go over there because they have something to show. And I kind of let them have it. I don't always tell this story, like I said, until something pops up with it. There's a sign right inside the cemetery that says, "There's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost." There's a reason for it. In 1888, a young lady died 6 days after her stillborn child. Her name was Sue Howard Hardy. The funny thing is that we talked about initials earlier. Sue Howard Hardy is shh, right? Very cheesy, campy, but it does show up, unfortunately. 1987, a local photographer is taking pictures of our cemeteries, and he's putting a book together. He goes to develop his photographs, and he finds a full apparition in one of his photos. And he doesn't know what to do with it because it's 1987. He doesn't have the tech that we have now. So he sends it to Kodak. I don't have to explain what Kodak is. That's good.
Yeah.
I get teenagers that have no idea.
What's that?
Yeah, teenagers. But Kodak can only authenticate the picture and that it wasn't tampered with. That's the only thing they can do. So the picture, for guys like me, is gold. But, of course, it's cursed. Again, I do this for a living. I have to kind of give those heated warnings out. Females that handle it, even in a digital format, it is said that they'll have headaches, nausea, dizziness. Pregnant females probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story. So, the only thing I ask, don't touch my tablet when I show you the picture. It's usually the joke. Like, I'm not going to be the guy where I curse somebody's family 9 months from their honeymoon vacation. So, the interesting thing and why I'm bringing this up about the word eighth is because I want to say that she died on December 8th. So your apparition is right here. You're looking at a woman praying over her own grave.
Yeah.
And the baby basket is right next to her.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
Jeez.
So, again, really cool story. I let them have it. This is their one show and tell that they get to do.
Yeah.
So, again, your show and tell's in your hands. But it just dawned on me, like, I want to say that the 8th is either her birth date or her death date. It's one of the two. I'm almost positive. But Start the Fire is still very interesting as well. And Bonnie. One of the few pictures you can find of her with a shirt on. The reason why is because she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. So just she was badass.
Yeah.
So, I get a lot of teenage boys on this group.
Yeah.
I don't need angry moms.
Yeah. There you go.
The names of her parents were William Cormack, Mary Brennan. Even though I mentioned a Mary Reed earlier, nobody expects a secondary Mary to start popping up through a spirit box. Last night we did get a William out of a specific type of spirit box. Could have been disembodied. I wasn't there for it, but somebody did hear it. And then there was a Mary that came through on another one. So it was kind of like okay, we got both of them. Normally they come through together on the same one. I like to show you what Calico Jack looked like too, because everybody wants to see what the hell, Johnny Depp's character was based off of. Calico Jack was named that because of the jackets that he wore. They came from the British captains that he killed. And his father was a tailor, so textiles were very important to the Rackham family. So, what the hell did I do? So, Calico Jack, fancy jacket, is basically where the name comes from. The name of his ship was the Kingston. I don't expect Kingston to always pop up on a spirit box with the radio stations like this, but the word king would actually suffice in this location based on the technology that we're using. So Kingston is not going to be a term because that's obviously a city in those islands down there. But yeah, everybody likes to see what the hell they based Johnny Depp off of.
That's cool.
He is also dubbed with creating the skull and crossbones that we associate with.
Really?
He created that for the Jolly Roger.
Him.
But it wasn't skull and cross bones, it was skull and cross swords. So they were two swords, like think of old giant, you know. But yeah, that's actually where that came from. He designed those for the Jolly Roger. So, very interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, very interesting. Here's what's going to happen from here. We're going to walk up about 2.5 blocks. We're going to actually head over to a Quaker graveyard as part of one of my new experimental locations. It's a very interesting space indeed. So this is going to be all about her listening in and her letting me know what she hears along the way. So if she wants to listen along the way.
Oh, she will.
Yeah, I'm already on.
Oh, no. Listen, I'm going to listen along the way.
Listen along the way. Yeah, we're going up about 2 minutes.
Of course, I gotta ask, what's your favorite? Maybe that's a better way of phrasing it. Piece of evidence that you caught while doing this.
The tours were my own investigation.
Both. You know what I mean?
Fair
You're
enough.
just your best favorite, however you want to put it.
the most surprising piece of like an investigation piece, because I have to look at it as a whole, because a lot of times there's a theme there, was the Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville. So the 9/11 plane crash.
Right.
I like to go to places that other people don't deem haunted already, and
Right.
I just want to know about a raised emotion. Obviously, I knew that there was a plane crash, but I knew nothing else. So I go up and I pay my respects. I just have a bunch of gear running on me. I go and review the data later, write down everything I find, and then I do the research. And I find that I had passenger names. Whoa. I had one list.
Wow.
So that was the interesting piece, was the passenger names and like the relation of what these people were. So like, the one said like Grace and grandmother, and there was like 4 grandmothers on that plane or something along, going to see their grandkids or coming back from their grandkids or whatever. But with the thermal imaging camera, which you're using, there was somebody overlooking the site, like cold, with the same type of hat as me, big belly. There 1 second, gone the next.
Gone the next. Wow.
So,
Should I be recording now?
No. But when
Okay.
we're walking, you
Yeah.
can kind of skip it.
Yeah.
We're going to cut through this block.
Gotcha.
But that's probably one of the most
Oh
surprising.
gosh,
in-depth-
yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that was really cool stuff. Part of the reason, another reason why I did a reroute for the tour is because one of my main locations has been stopping my devices, giving me unwelcome messages when it is running, and I've been going there for 3 years. So I finally said, I'm going to retire it for a little while. I'll
Yeah.
go back in a year or so and kind of see how it goes.
Okay.
So it's a very prominent family in Charleston, and it's almost like they just got tired of me coming there night after night after night after night.
Okay.
So it was kind of like, I got to look at the clues and say, that's enough.
Great. Well, respect it.
But most of my voices have come
December 6th.
from, I think,
That's my dad's birthday. It just said December 6th.
what I find interesting about that is you have December, and I want to see how it's already got December too. Very specifically.
Yeah, that is.
December 6th.
The day that'll live in infamy. Oh, there's 2 of them.
Or small. Look up fire up around.
Not all of them, but no.
That was
Do you know most of the other folks or not?
no,
No.
they are not.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was kind of almost like a
No.
little, you know.
You would think it would be, but a lot of us down here are like private owners. Like this our bread and butter.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of like drawing the biggest crowds that you can. Is what most of the other tours try to do.
Back Jack. Back Jack. Like Back Jack. Do it again. That was from that
Okay.
song, but it was on that one of our. Yeah.
I do have like only truly one guy that I even keep in touch with as a tour guide. He's another private guy like me, but he's been doing this like almost 30 years.
Oh, well, okay.
He actually got a hold of me for a police podcast. He was one of the investigation with me. And we just made friends after that. So I still take his tour once a year just because of his scratch, because he's been doing it for so long.
Right.
You know, just learn different tactics. Where's he going? You know, why is he going to these specific locations? That kind of thing.
Sure. That's nice. Like a Michigan summer.
We had some friends down from Ohio the other day. We went back to the 200 where we left town today. I showed up in a big heavy sweater. They were out there in shorts and t-shirts. I'm like, there's snow and sleet back home. Like, it's freezing out here. What are you guys doing?
I was watching a little bit of couple minutes of the Bengals game, and it was snowing.
Yeah.
I'm like, our youngest daughter lives in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm from the opposite end of the state. I'm from Youngstown.
Okay. So,
And that's usually the response I get. Like, yeah, that's a weird part of the
yeah.
Like,
No.
Youngstown is one of those areas, like, you don't talk about Youngstown unless you're from Youngstown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Big beat.
Like a tone?
Yeah. Beep.
I have to say, the churches here are amazing. They're beautiful.
Actually, we were able to see this St. Philip's and St. Michael's are in line with each other from where we were at my garage.
Gotcha. That's okay. Oh yeah, we got that on the tour too. Yeah, with the county, state, federal, and municipal.
Yeah, actually, this is still, like, this whole part of town is all new to me still. Like,
Okay.
I've been living here for 6 years, and I don't come up this way. So that's why I'm like, now we're in one of my experimental places. The reason why we're here. Is there anything else on that?
Jingle Bell Rock.
Yeah, I got nothing on that.
Yeah, no,
It's too easy.
no.
All right, go ahead and turn that down. Here's what I'll tell you. I've been in slave graveyards in the past, and there's no markers. But with a thermal, you can see the implants of the ground, of where it's sunken in, where the crypt or
gotcha.
their body was put. It is the strangest thing. So you might actually have something along those lines right now.
It's the weirdest. I said when I looked, earlier, of course I wasn't recording, but it was just all uniform, and then you could see that piece of concrete up there.
Mm-hmm.
It was just different.
So it's almost like you're seeing where the land is being
Yeah,
Bodies are.
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is interesting because
It's
they are like
interesting.
segmented this way.
Yeah.
Very cool catch. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. Probably because it's been like
That
10
is-
years since I've been to that slave graveyard.
There
And
you
just
go.
come back
That
here.
is crazy.
That is really nice. I would say almost do a quick survey of all of these grass. Come over here.
Yeah.
Give me a quick survey, and that way I have something to look at tomorrow. I'm going through that. See anything else over here? I don't know that you're going to get it out of the mulch, but
No, it's all kind of uniform, like it was over there. You can see the top of the hedges
Bushes,
here.
yeah.
but-
that's interesting over there. That's for sure.
From this end over here.
Ooh, wind is kicking tonight, that is. All right, let's head over to our last stop.
Okay.
By the way, was this what you guys were expecting? What you were hoping for? Is
I-
this not what you
Yeah.
guys thought you could sign
No,
up for?
yeah.
Yeah, no, this is,
It's very
I guess
cool.
it was like what I was hoping for. You'd have your hands on some equipment, you'd go to some spots, and then you just got to try to tweeze it out.
Right.
I was never under, like, the TV where you're finding stuff all the time. That was never an expectation, but I just wanted to go through the paces
Sure.
of doing it,
Well, we
and
do
learning
have
some stuff
weird
too.
Things that did occur tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not like concrete. Oh my God, there's a guy.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was like, all right, let's see what that is.
Right.
You know, and that's the curiosity behind this. It's not always a demon in the corner possessing Zach Bagans.
Right,
Like it's just not the
exactly.
way it goes. Oh, look, we do have one of those. All right. So, do we want to have a seat? Do we want to stroll around? What do we want to do? Up to you guys. It's your last stop. You tell me.
There?
Yeah, no,
You got that?
where did you get them? Like, just through here, you mean?
Yeah, like we just kind of walk through the
Yeah,
circle a little
okay.
bit.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
We'll stay away from the other tour and let them do their thing. They're at the
Yeah.
Washington Monument.
Okay.
That's Washington statues over there. but I figured if I started at the Timrod, we didn't even start over there. I kind of brought him over here to the center of the obelisk, and that's when everything started happening as we kind of spread out. So,
Okay.
all right, this is a weird thing going on. I don't know what all these names are, but then it clicked. Henry Timrod.
Right.
You gotta be shitting me.
That is
Because
pretty
I've heard that on
amazing.
another tour.
Yes.
Interesting thing about this whole situation is that Andrew Jackson, Calhoun is buried right here in Charleston. Calhoun served underneath Jackson, and I got the two crossed up, and it turns out that Andrew Jackson's mother actually has two markers here. One's here, and then the other one is at the location of her actual death, which is in the middle of a neighborhood uptown. So I haven't gone out to go seek it out, but I thought it was Calhoun, because the rumor around Calhoun is he was actually shuffled back and forth between two different sides of the cemetery, because one side is for natives only, one's for everybody else. And because he wasn't actually born here, he's not a native. He was born in, they say, Columbia area. So it is said, because he's not from here, they shuffled him back and forth trying to figure out where he was supposed to go. So talking so much about Calhoun as much as I did, I could have thought for sure that this memorial was for Calhoun's mother, not Jackson's. So apparently it's Andrew Jackson's, but it's Chad's.
God, there's so much history here.
Well, there was another rumor that another local told me on my tour in Philadelphia Alley, our first stop, that Andrew Jackson actually had a duel in that alley.
Oh, no kidding?
Missed, and the bullet hole is allegedly still there.
Wow. That's cool.
It is,
That's
but
cool.
I can find no record of it whatsoever. I dug and dug and dug through all my dueling books, through all my websites that I use, my legitimate websites. I found it.
I gotcha.
So I did. It's not that I debunked it, but it is also a duel of a president.
Right.
So it can be some hidden history that wasn't always revealed.
Right.
Kind of like in the President's Book of Secrets kind of shit.
Well, and because for the most part it was illegal too, right?
Oh yeah, it was very.
You know, and if you're running for political office, I don't know back in that day if that mattered, but it might have been something they just tried to keep out of the public's eye.
Even Dueler's Alley, that was a nickname.
Right.
So, I mean, it's had many names over the years, but Dueler's Alley was a nickname from the locals.
Right.
Just because that was one of the spots where some of the duels occurred.
Right.
That's where you could go.
Yeah. Long and straight. It's
Yeah.
a cool name now too. It's
Yeah.
like two of them.
Well, the only reason it's called Philadelphia now is because the city was trying to get rid of that nickname of Dueler's Alley. So they named it after a city that helped us out one of our many fires, which happened to be Philadelphia.
Okay.
So that alley has a very, very long history. I'm getting no readings at all over here. What's funny was we were getting some crazy stuff at this memorial.
The other day?
Yeah. We were getting a lot of motion, but I'm not even getting EMF fields over here. It's not even worth pulling out the motion sensor. I do want to try over by that monument over there, just because we had that woman's initials the one night. If you're okay with walking through some grass?
Of course.
Is anybody here with us? Who's here with us? Give me a name. We're here. I just said, is anybody here with us?
And you heard we're
And
here.
I heard we're here.
we're here.
Yeah, okay, I have goosebumps now. Like, that is the most
Yeah,
significant.
that's a pretty direct.
Yeah,
I would say so.
Is anybody here with
Can
us?
you tell us who's here? We would
We're
like to know
here.
your name.
Yeah.
What names?
Tell us who's here. What is your name?
I do have the name Lucas that's on my screen. What's interesting about that name specifically is because that location I told you where we don't go anymore
Yeah.
is based off of Eliza Lucas Pinckney. And one of her sons is buried right across the street at St. Michael's. He was not a Lucas. Only one of her sons was a Lucas. That was not the one that's buried over there. We actually had Mitchell and Lee show up on that board. They heard that we were here, and somebody pointed out that the Marguerite vault. So this was actually dedicated from what was it, the Friends of Old Charleston, and they're part of the Washington Light Infantry and all that mess. But we had MV show up. And those were the only two letters that showed up when they were near him. So
I got a pin. Pin.
I don't know if there's a thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot.
Isaac Finn? You might have said Isaac Finn, but
I'm gonna write down
I'm not sure about Isaac. Definitely Finn.
a quick question. Because it might show up in my spot check. What's weird is the word vinegar is on my word screen right now. Last night we had the word aroma that came through on one of those spirit boxes.
Okay.
Okay.
But I will also tell you, before you guys came to meet me in my garage today, I was sitting in the back and all I could smell was vinegar. And I just had those friends from Ohio in my car, so I was like, maybe they spilled something, they brought something with them. I went through my whole car looking for the smell of vinegar, couldn't find it again.
Wow.
And the word vinegar is on my, and again, this isn't shit I make up.
No,
I
I
even put-
don't for a second think so.
But the word aroma was definitely there last night, and someone's like, why would they say aroma? I'm like, I don't know, that's a very weird term. I can't say that anybody's ever come up with that.
Right.
But again, now we have the word vinegar.
Yeah.
Vinegar has a definite aroma.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I do want to test. I haven't really been able to test things out because I've had full groups every night I've been here. So I almost want to-
what is so cold right there?
Anything crazy going on?
No.
Nothing at all. Anything coming through?
No.
Just the we're here, huh?
That's what I
All right, come on over.
did. Okay.
Again, not going to have us keep circling around if minimal things are popping through
Nothing happening.
that we caught in real time. Just